Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome for your first time. This is Being Youthful. I am Kim Beegler, the owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am sitting in the mill today and it's a little bit warm. Not too warm, but a little bit warm. So welcome if you're new to listening or watching, because now you can do both. You can watch and you can listen. So if you are not on YouTube much, you can now listen in your car or whatever, because I'm turning this into an audio podcast. So exciting. But I don't watch YouTube as much as I listen to audio podcasts. So I thought a lot of this does transfer, and I didn't think it did. But I'm going to try to explain things a little bit more if I'm showing them. But most of the time I am talking and explaining fairly well what I'm talking about. So anyway, if you're new, I talk about wool, yarn, farm life, all things like that. So welcome. I have a couple things to show you that just came off the carter, and we're going to do a little unboxing, which I will talk through for all of you listening, because my box came from Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I kind of have forgotten what's in it too, so we can do it. I saved it. I didn't even open it yet. And I have got a tour to show you because somebody asked about the tour, just kind of what the building looks like and the history of it. So I have a little clip and I show you back in the back of the mill what it is I'm working on. And oh, I have a video from the farm last night, us getting our irrigation. And I say us, I mean Mitch. He spent all day yesterday getting the irrigation up for our pastures. So if we didn't irrigate our pastures, by that I mean watering, if we didn't water our pastures during the summer, we would not have enough feed on the land to feed all of our animals, and we would have to supplement with a lot more hay. And as it is, Mitch basically does irrigation for a living as a farmer this time of year. So every year, he said, it gets better. Setting up the pump, getting the pump running, laying out all the lines so that all the different pastures can be irrigated when he wants them to be irrigated. So last night was getting the pump primed and actually seeing water come out of the pump after a very long day of him working on it. So I think that's all I've got. I think that's probably enough. So let's get to it. And I'm going to show you what I have pulled off the carter in the past couple of days. So one, there is not very much of this. So if you are interested in it, I think there's a 4-ounce bump left and a 6-ounce bump. This is Moira. So this is one of our 2021 lambs. The last time we lambed, the last time we probably will lamb. I'll never say never, but we are not currently lambing ourselves. So this is her 6 to 12 month fleece. So for a long time I was shearing my Shetlands twice a year because I wanted to make yarn out of them. And on my commercial mill spinning equipment, their staple length could potentially be too long if I left it for a year. So the Shetlands I have been shearing twice a year. I did that for my lamb fleeces. If I have lambs again, I may do that again for Shetlands, because the Shetlands, the color of their fleeces changes dramatically from when they are born to even by the end of their first year of life. They tend to lighten up a lot. So like some of my sheep looked black in essence when they were born, and they're now a light gray. So that first fleece that you get off of them is kind of the darkest, most lustrous color you're gonna get. And I do have her first 6-month fleece here, and I am going to keep it for myself, but I'll grab it in a minute and I'll show you the difference, because this is her 6 to 12 months. So technically it's still in her lamb fleece range. She has got, you can see all those gray fibers. She's got a light gray fleece, I would say, with a lot of little black fibers through it. I spun up a little bit of this, just a tiny sample of it. There was literally a pound when this was washed. So there's not much. It's so pretty though, and it spun beautifully, and the yarn is so pretty. I mean, I love a little heathered yarn when I'm spinning or whatever. I just love a little heathered yarn to it. So that is her fleece. It's really beautiful. The staple length is maybe 4 inches. Really nice. There's 2 bumps of that. So if you are interested in that, I would run, because Moira's never going to make that fiber again. Okay. I think I have videos of that coming off the carder. I'll throw those in. I know I have videos of this next product coming off the carder, and I'm so excited about it. Also, I did this once, maybe a year or two ago. It didn't last long. So let me show you. I have so much fiber sitting in bins. Some of it's washed, some of it's not. And it does me no good, and it does you all no good if it's just sitting in bins, not going anywhere. So look at, I'm not sure you're gonna be able to see. Yeah, you can see kind of some bumps in here. So this is a natural white Columbia wool blended with a little bit of silk oil, dyed up silk oil, and about 5% of Angora rabbit. I keep the Angora, okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, first off, it's so fun. So when it's blended up, there's just little tiny subtle pops of color throughout it. When it's spun up, that's all it is. Super, super, super subtle. I'll put a picture up here. I spun a tiny little bit. I couldn't help myself. I'm definitely stealing some of this to go home because I never got any of the last batch. No, I did. And I think I still have the yarn that I spun from it. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. So first off, I see a little black hair in there. The Columbia wool comes from, I talk about this a little bit more in the video coming up, but it comes from Eastern Oregon, and it's out of the Imperial. The sheep themselves are out of the Imperial Yarn Company's wool. These sheep were not owned by them anymore, but they were purchased from them. Okay, the silk oil. If you have never seen silk oil comes in, it just comes in clumps. It's basically a waste product from processing silk. So it comes in clumps. You can order it just raw. It's not pretty looking, and then you can dye it. If you are dyeing silk in any form, you really want to soak it well, like even up to 24 hours before you actually dye it, because the silk does not as easily take color as wool does. So you definitely want to soak it for like overnight before you dye it. You can buy this on Etsy, wherever. It's just a waste product. So it's got little chunks to it. So it adds just a little bit of texture into the fiber. And you'll see in the video, I don't use much. I like really subtle. I'm very subtle with my stuff. And then the Angora, I again show you in the clip, a little bit of Angora goes a long way, especially if you have allergies. You don't want any of it. It's very fluffy if you've never worked with Angora, and it will fly. It weighs nothing. So it will fly away. So I put it on right on the carder. As the fiber is going into the feed, I'm throwing the Angora right on top so I don't lose a lot of it. There's our train. And this, so another funny thing, this Columbia, I, for some reason, didn't think was going to card up well 2 years ago, or whenever it is that I washed it. I did one batch, and actually it turned out really well. I have one other Columbia fleece that I don't think would card out well, more because it looks like there's, I don't know if there's breaks or second cuts. I'm not sure what it is. I might try to hand process a little bit of it. But this fleece I pulled out, and I was like, what, Kim, this is a beautiful fleece. And I kind of pulled the locks apart. It separated really well. The tips weren't getting stuck together. I didn't see any reason this wasn't going to be beautiful. And I had a note in there to hand pick it. Oh my gosh, hand picking for me is like not something I do well with patients at the mill. I ran it through the picker. Beautiful. So it's funny because it showed me how much I've learned over the last couple of years in processing wool. So I'm going to make sure. Okay, I had to pause because I was like, is my microphone on? And it was not, and now it is. So hopefully the audio quality will be a little bit better. Sorry for those of you that are just listening. Hopefully it's not too bad. It sounded like it was okay, just better with my microphone on. So anyway, this Columbia is in the online shop. There were about 2 pounds of it or so, so there's a decent amount in there. Minus me taking a little bit home. It's really fun. It spins up. I, of course, yet again, took a little sample, ran to my wheel. So fun. So fun. So if you want something a little bit different and a little bit fun and you're not allergic to Angora, grab this up. Okay, so those are the things that are fresh off the carder. You'll see in the video, I am also working on some Halsey blends, so there will be some yarn maybe next week. For mill day, we'll see how much I can crank it out. Mitch and I are going on a little vacation this weekend. We have a new farm sitter. We have somebody who actually comes and stays on the farm, and we have a new sitter, and hopefully she won't get too overwhelmed. I think she's going to be just fine. We set it up pretty well, but it does mean that I'll be a little bit stretched on whether I can get this yarn ready for mill day, and I don't have a lot of yarn in stock right now, so I'm going to try. And mill day is Memorial Day, Saturday, the 27th, 10 to 3. If you're in the area or you're moving around, come by, sit, have a chat, have a snack, all those things. Okay, we're gonna do a little box opening, and I'm also gonna grab some of Moira's early fleece just to show you how different the color is. I was actually going to blend the two fleeces, but then I couldn't because the color on the first fleece is so dark. I didn't want to lose that in the blending. So, okay, let's do some unboxing and let's show you that, and then we'll skip to some videos. Okay, so first things first here, I wanted to show you, this is some of Moira's original fleece. And you can see how much, so this is her color when she was born. She was really dark. And then you can see how much lighter. So there's a lot more dark pockets in this fiber than in her 6-month fiber. So I probably in the future would continue to shear lambs at 6 months. And then after that, we'd go to every year. But you can really see, let me pull out a lock here. You can really see how dark her tips are. That's the color she was when she was born, and they're a really dark brown, and now she's a really, really pale gray. And that is a really long staple too. I mean, that's a solid 6 inches. So anyway, that was her first 6 months. She cranked. Okay, so now that we have done that, let's look. I've opened up the box a bit so you can see, and I think I will lower you a little bit so you can see, and for those of you listening, I will talk through because I have actually kind of forgotten what's in here as well. So thank you, Dad, for dropping this off for me and for tolerating my crazy. Oh, I did forget some things that were in here. Okay, I just got more excited. Okay, so first off, my niece, I got her one of these little kits. Do you remember these? Or maybe you have some for your nieces or grandkids or whoever. So this was her first attempt at it. We have a little waffle there, but you know what? All in all, I got that while I was visiting them. So that was exciting. So this I completely forgot was in here. And Sandy, if you're watching, you'll recognize this. So this is organic Himalayan cashmere. And it's not a ton, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it, but I got this from Wild Fibers. And they had a booth there. They are a magazine, and they do lots of good in the world. Look them up. I'll put a link in the show notes, but you can see the cashmere, and it's very short, and it's very fine and beautiful, and I'm going to somehow blend it into something absolutely stunning. I'm not sure what. So that is my first thing, and I completely forgot I had gotten that, and I'm sure you can get more. This is handmade in India's high Himalayas, so at the Pangong Craft Center. So you can find out more information. I'll put links all about that. And Sandy knows lots about that. Okay, so that is my first purchase. My second purchase is, so I was trying to be mindful to purchase things that were different. I didn't want to buy top because I can get top, right? Even though there was some beautifully dyed top, I just don't love, and I'm not saying top. If there were mills, I looked at stuff, but in general, sounds awful. Indie dyed top, you know, I can order it online, and it's not gonna feel and look and behave as differently as other stuff that I was looking for. So here is something else I bought. This is, I'd call it a camel colored, it's natural. It's merino and llama. And this is, I think they say it's roving. Yeah, it's roving. I believe when I talked to these people, they had their roving done by Xylingers, which is where Cuttlebug's fiber is currently. You can kind of see the roving there. Really pretty. It just, well, one thing I loved was that it's from North Carolina. They're in Burnsville, North Carolina, Wellspring Fiber Farm. It's 60% merino, 40% llama. This is all from their own animals, which was really important to me. when I buy. It's always important to me when I buy. It's just a little bit more fun. And you get to support that farm, and processing costs a lot of money. So if they can sell it, that is helpful. So anyway, this is 2 ounces. I got another one that's 2 ounces, and I might start spinning this. You know, I have all my wheels I started the Rommeldale that I showed you all last time. And Wendy had asked a question about, do I generally pick a pattern after I'm done spinning, or will I decide while I'm spinning the yarn? And I generally decide after I've spun the yarn, because then I have a better idea of the weight. For the Rommeldale I showed you all in the last episode, Wendy sort of inspired me, I guess, with the question, and I decided to go on. I wanted to do a vest. I did find the vest, but I don't have another way to show it to you all now. So next episode, I'm going to update you all on what the projects I'm working on, and that one as well. Because I am making progress on my nurtured sweater and on my summer tee. So anyway, okay, so Wellspring Fiber Farms, I have 4 ounces of that. Hurrah, I'm very excited, and I remembered it, but I didn't remember the color or anything. So you see, I don't go too crazy on colors. Okay, you guys, this is obviously super important. This is from Whence. This I did not get at the festival. But it says, before you poo, toilet bombs. What? I had never heard of this. So you drop it in the toilet before you're about to take a poo, and then it smells like flowers coming out of your toilet bowl. How amazing is that? And y'all, it works. It really does work. It's a lovely smell, and it's septic safe. And Whence, I'll put a link to them. Also, loveyourbadass.com or whence.com. I got these at a little shop in North Carolina, and I kind of swear by them now. Wouldn't it be amazing if you went into a restroom and somebody had dropped this in the toilet before they took a poo, or just dropped it in the toilet in general and make the restroom smell better? Okay, I think this is the last thing I have stuffed in here. So this is a beautiful green, multicolored green. I assume it was, I'm not sure how they do their processing exactly. So this is from Feederbrook Farm. They're in Freeland, Maryland. They also have an Airbnb. They raise their own sheep, but I do not believe, this is Blueface Leicester is the color. Okay, the color is like my jam, so I had to get it. It's kind of blues and greens and a little bit of yellow in there. I believe this was so they make yarn. In general, they aren't selling rovings or fiber. They are making yarn, and really fun yarn. So go check them out. I'll put a link in the show notes. But they had this, they said this is kind of like when they're making yarn and the fiber goes wafu on them. They pull that apart and then they sell it out just as the roving. So I couldn't help it. This is 8 ounces. It was $20. I mean, come on. So this is like destined for whatever reason to not become yarn until I get it, and then it is going to become yarn. So I'm really excited. It just is my colors. It's just my color. So there's that from Feederbrook Farm, and they were very nice, and they own a mill, and I got to talk with them, which is always fun. Okay, you all, the fleece. So here it is in all its glory. I don't know why there's a knot in it, but there is. So hold on, let me untie the knot. Okay, so here she is in all her glory. You may be able to see just by looking at this fleece why I picked it. Like I said, it's not a super luxurious breed, but look at so there is this beautiful small crimp to it. Hopefully you can see the sun is kind of shining in. The staple length is beautiful. It's probably 3 to 4 inches. There you go. You can see that crimp beautifully now that it's sitting in my hand. So when people were asking, somebody asked on the last episode, what do I look for? And if you're going to a festival, it is super overwhelming to look through fleeces, 100%. And that was a lot of fleeces, I'll tell you. So the things I look for, these were organized out into different breeds, long hair, short hair, heritage breed, which makes it easy, right? If you have some idea, if you're buying a fleece for the first time and you're going to process it yourself, I would lean towards getting a fleece that is more on the heritage breed side, or somewhere around a Romney or something like that. Main reason, it's going to have less lanolin, in theory. Generally speaking, the less lanolin you have, the easier it is to wash. When you're first getting started, that's going to be easier. Finn, Jacob, Shetlands, Icelandic, they're all on the lower end, Romney, of lanolin. So if you can get something with a lower lanolin, it's just gonna make your washing easier. I would say don't go crazy. You know, it takes a lot of time to process fleeces. So maybe only buy one and think, okay, that might take you several months to process. And I'm talking if you're gonna wash it yourself, card it yourself, spin it yourself, it's gonna take a while. Also think of, if you're not gonna do that yourself, where are you going to send it and how long is it going to take you? How long are you gonna be on the waiting list to get into that mill that's gonna process it? So just think about all those things. But it's easy to like grab at fleeces, and you know, there will be fleeces next year, so don't panic, right? Don't panic. Generally speaking, if a fleece is going through judging, it's probably going to, okay, here's what I should say. Fleeces at fleece shows are most likely going to cost more because the entrants had to pay, usually they're paying some sort of an entry fee to get fleeces in, whether it's per fleece or however that festival charges. The festival has to make money, the shepherd has to make money. So you're probably going to pay a little bit more for a fleece. And that's okay. If you're only gonna buy 1 or 2 fleeces a year, go for it, man. Spend the money. I can't do that at the mill necessarily because I would not be able to turn a profit at all. But if you're just gonna process this at home for fun, spend the money. Spend the money. If a fleece has been judged, it's probably going to cost more. But those are wonderful fleeces because you can read most of the time that there will be notes on the fleece that are going to tell you what the judge thought, the pluses, the minuses, all of that stuff. And that is invaluable and makes your shopping experience that much easier. So worth paying a little bit more for. When I'm looking for fleeces, I kind of had an idea of what I was looking, well, I didn't really have an idea of what I was looking for. I knew I didn't really want a fine wool. I wanted something from a specific area. Just something a little bit different. So when I'm looking at fleeces, I'm looking at staple length. I don't love 8+ inches when I'm spinning. I don't want to process it. I don't want to spin it. So for me, a slight kind of a, 4 to 6 inches is my happy place, 3 to 6 inches. So I was looking for that. I was looking for something a little bit different. I don't mind crossbreeds, any of that. When I look at a fleece, keep in mind that most of the time you're gonna see the cut side. That's always gonna look better potentially than the inside. So you want to, if they don't mind, try to open it up a little bit and you can see, and I could see right away, this is very low vegetable matter. I don't mind vegetable matter, but if it's like an entire bale of hay, no way. The other thing that I look for is that the tips are nice and clean. A little bit of mud is not a big deal. A lot of mud is going to make cleaning a real pain in the butt. So, those are kind of some of the things that I look for in the wools, just for ease of processing. How much vegetable matter is in it and how dirty or clean is it? What is the staple length on it? Do I think I'm gonna like the wool? What will I use it for? Because I don't want to just stack up fleeces, especially because I was looking for one just for me. So those are kind of my big tips, I'd say. Don't, if you can spend the money, spend the money. This fleece is only $60. So I couldn't walk away from it. And when I went to check out, one of Kim is in Kim, I hope you go by Kim. If not, Kimberly is in my subscription club, my fiber subscription club. She was volunteering in the fleece sale and she was like, nope, those fleeces are, she made my day because she was like, no, that farm is known for having lovely wool, and they certainly do. It's really, 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 really stunning. So there's my fleece, and I bet you wanna know what it is, huh? I do too. No, I actually did remember. So it is a Cheviot fleece. And like on this one, I don't remember what all of these stand for. I know one of the green ones meant it's a Maryland sheep, or maybe that is Maryland. It has the farm on it. It has who is the one selling it and their address. So, which is nice because you can get in touch with them. This is Aerie Farm East. So I'll put that in the show notes. I'll see if I can find them. The breed, tells you how much per pound, which this is $12 a pound. Totally reasonable, not coated. Breed, Cheviot, it's a medium breed, medium as far as coarse level. Anyway, but if you're getting one that was actually went through judging, a lot of times it'll have a form in it and the judge will have written all their notes on it. So valuable. So anyway, I hope that helps out a bit. I guess one of my other tips would be, don't just look at price. I mean, as far as price, a lot of times does mean quality, but not always. So this fleece was only $60. There were fleeces there easily twice that price that I wasn't interested in. It just depends on what you are looking for. So anyway, there is my lovely fleece. There is the box undone. I'm gonna shut up now. I've been talking way too long. So I'm gonna show you guys some videos and then I'll come on and say a quick goodbye and hurrah, we're out of here, onward with our days. Just wanted to show you one of the Shetlands going on to the Carter. This is Moira Rose. And this is her 6 to 12 month fleece. Really pretty, has nice chunks of gray. It's got heathered gray throughout it. And let's go take a peek at the other end of it. I'm putting it into bumps. There's a this was like not even, maybe it was a pound, her fleece. So there's not very much of it, but it's really pretty. Okay, so I wanted to show you what's on the Carter today. I'm having a little fun. I've done this blend before and I'm doing it again. So this is a Columbia wool. There's some dyed little silk noils and you can see there's blue and green. And there is Angora rabbit. And it's white and there's some pale gray in there too. I don't have my microphone so I couldn't talk while I was doing it, but I wanted to let you see, and I'll start this up. And it's very faint when it comes through the colors, but I think it's pretty. I don't like to overdo it too much with the noils or with the Angora. So we'll see if we can see. There's just gonna be, might have to stop it so you can see, but there's just gonna be little specks. There's little specks that are gonna just be throughout it, and they're pretty minor. You can kind of see in the, but that's how I like it. I don't like it super overstated, and the Angora is just gonna add a little bit of a halo. It's just about 5%, so not a lot, but just enough to make this a little extra fun. Okay, someone asked about the history of this building that I'm in, and I thought I would just take you, and they kind of were interested to see what it looks like. So I thought I would take you for a quick tour through, and this is kind of when this shop isn't, because the shop is only open once a month, I put all the fiber away and yarn because I don't want to invite any unexpected visitors into my wool. So there's not stuff out. And in fact, the rest of the month, it's just a workspace for me, but I do all my packaging over there. And you can see, I'll kind of expand out a little bit. There is a big loft space upstairs, and all those built-ins over against that wall, all of that is original to the building. And the building was, from what we know, the building was built in the 1870s or so. And it was originally, they sold hand crank washing machines down in this front space here, and you can see we have the big storefront, huge storefront windows, and then in the back space where I mill, they built and sold coffins. I don't know if they built them, but they sold coffins in the back space, which I mill back in there. You can see Wish. She's kind of sitting in front of the fan right now. The problem with this building, the is not insulated, so it does not stay, and we don't have air conditioning in it. So it does get a little warm in here. You kind of find the spots and then you stop moving. And if the fan is on, apparently Wish takes full advantage. So we'll go upstairs, and this staircase is original to the building too, but from what we understand, the staircase was moved and it used to be coming down from over here. I think it probably came down from here, because upstairs there is, they kind of built that new rail in. So we're guessing the stairs probably came in, but the stairs and the post and everything are original to the building as well. So we'll go upstairs. You can see this is basically my mess space upstairs. It just contains everything. Wish has her litter boxes up here hidden away. And otherwise it really is just storage space, although I do have dreams of, and she has, this is her winter bed up here because the heat, my heating unit is that little thing there. And it's really warm up here in the winter. Box storage, basically, some of the old signs that were in the building when we first bought it, that too. So anyway, it was, after it was that store, it became the Halsey Hardware, and you can see the sign back there, Halsey Hardware. They sold antiques for a while too, and then it became an auctioneer house, which that's the auctioneer, that's who we bought it from. And they had closed up the building, I think like 7 to 10 years before we bought it, 5 to 7, I don't know, somewhere in there, and kind of let it go. There was no heat, the roof was leaking, it was pretty rough. But all these little built-ins in here are here. I'm sure at some point somebody added these ones, but they are certainly not new. And then we've got just a big open space. I do have dreams of sitting up here, especially in the winter. It's so nice up here. So that's the view from upstairs. And we have heard tales that back in the day, probably 40s, 50s, they used to have little dance halls up here, and people would come up here, which is funny because the loft is pretty bouncy. But apparently they used to have little dances up here. And I'll pop you over here and you can kind of see that's where everybody gathers when the mill shop is open and people are here to just hang out. So it's a really, really beautiful space. When I first looked in it, I mean, the wood ceilings to it are all so spectacular. This loft, I mean, come on. It's just really a beautiful, beautiful building. And we are so happy and lucky and proud to have it because it's one of the remaining older buildings here in Halsey. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. You can kind of see that it waffles a little bit right there. And the beams are not straight. All of that, when we had our inspection, they said, you know what? That's because it's a dang old building, and they didn't have levels and things like that when they built buildings back in the day. So a lot of it is they did the best they could, and some of it, obviously, the buildings settle over time, and this is just how it's settled. But anyway. And then there's a giant, it's just giant. It's a giant building. Most of it up here is just storage space. And one day I hope to slow down a little bit and actually do a little more making in it. It's a hot mess and I need to have a garage sale for lots of it because this has just become a catch-all for so much. But this is probably where the stairs used to be because this rail here is new. So it would have been a little more grander in the middle, but it works just great where it is. So that is the building, and we'll walk downstairs and I will show you what I'm working on in the back. Okay, we're back downstairs. Here's Wishy enjoying a little breeze. I have the door open in the back here, and lots of times she'll go out. We'll eat out on this little perch. So over here, I do have a little video I'll pop in because I was carting up the first batch of this yesterday, but this is a Columbia wool, and the sheep actually came from Imperial Yarn, if you've heard of that yarn. The sheep came from there, not from, they were bred at Imperial Yarn. My shearer got the wool and she knows the history. So these people got the sheep from there. So it's that. Then I've got some dyed silk noil that is on there, and I'll show you how silk noil, so it comes kind of, it's basically a waste product. So it comes just in clumps, and it's been dyed out, and then I just break it up into bits so that I can get the noil effect. There is also some Angora rabbit in this fiber, and the Angora I put on, I just layer it out on top and let it feed in. I don't blend it at the picker because Angora flies. There's no controlling Angora. So I basically just put it on right before it's going into the carder so that it is controlled chaos. I don't know if I have any coming out here, but I do show in the other video. It's so, I spun a little bit of it, and I'm definitely gonna have to steal some of it to take home. Over here, I am picking out a little bit of yarn that is coming our way, hopefully next week when I get back into town. It's Halsey. So this is Romney alpaca and silk. So it'll be a very, very light gray, natural. And I've got the last of it to pick out over here. And then, let me flip a light on. I just cleaned out the drying rack so I could make room for this. But this is what I just washed up. And this is East Frisian lamb. And there's a little bit of Romney in there. And the East Frisian I may dye up into some fun color. There's not too much of it, probably just about 2 pounds. Now that it's washed, yeah, about 2 pounds, but I'll probably dye it up a fun color. So anyway, that's what's going on here at the mill. That's a little history of the mill building. And there is a back space back here too, that houses some of the vacuums and things like that for the mill. So there it is. I think I talked about the whole history of the building. Yeah. The phases. It was the hardware store for about 100 years. I'm guessing probably about 100 years. A couple of different families owned it, and lots of people have memories of, they've come in and tell me, they actually talk about how when they were kids, they would slide across, they'd take their shoes off and slide across the wood floors, which the wood floors, they've been through it. And other, I guess, you know, all the farmers and such would come in. This is the side door here, and they would all come in through here. Nobody really used the front door. That was a local. They knew to pop in the back door. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the little behind the scenes of what the mill space looks like and what's going on in the mill. See you in a minute. This is what goes into getting our irrigation up and running for the farm, which basically does this for a living this time of year. But we're trying to get irrigation going for our pastures. You see the water gets pulled from this creek next to our house. This is not his favorite part. This is the first day we're trying to get it. He's trying to get it up and running. I'm literally flipping a switch for him. And now we hope. I flipped the switch. And hopefully Mitch doesn't hurt himself too bad. This seems promising. This right here is part of the irrigation pump, and it just got full of water. Not part of the pump, part of where the water is going to travel to. And it's nice and full right now, so that seems good. There is the success of a Mitchell hard day's work. This is the top pasture. Hurrah, hurrah, let there be water! Mitchell's hiding his hand from me because he hurt himself. Woo! Are you tired of hearing me? I wouldn't blame you. Anyway, thank you all so much. I did want to mention, because I keep forgetting to mention, that I am not going to be vending at Black Sheep Gathering this year. or at Oregon Flock and Fiber for that matter. I actually have decided not to vend at any festivals this year. A hard decision to make. I have so much fun at the festivals and I have so much fun seeing you all, which hold on, because I will still want to see some of you. But the reality is that Mitch works a lot during the summer. Both festivals are in the midst of harvest, and Black Sheep Gathering is at the very beginning. Off is at the very end. And generally speaking, by the end of off, I would be in tears. Off is Oregon Flock and Fiber. I would be in tears because I would be so tired and just trying to. So I said, you know what, this year, let's just take a break. Let's not do any festivals and let's just go and enjoy the festivals and see how it goes this year. And I thoroughly thank all of you who support me by shopping in the mill day or shopping online, because you help make it happen so that I can have a little bit more flexibility and have a slightly less stressful summer. So thank you. But I am debating having the mill shop open on Saturday of Black Sheep Gathering because it's only a half an hour away from here. And I know there are some people that come up from California or from different states that would love to pop into the mill. Feel free to comment below if you are one of those people, because it will help sway me one way or the other. I haven't quite decided. I will definitely be at the festival on Friday, and I'll let you all know when and where. If you want to come, like sit, spin, hang out, catch up, show me what you bought, talk about fun things, just say hi. So I'll let you know for sure. I'll be there Friday. Sunday, I plan to be there, but we'll see. I'll try to convince myself not to buy a sheet on Sunday. That's what Sunday's for. I was going to tell you all something else. Giveaway. Let's do a giveaway this time. So fiber yarn. I will be making some fresh Halsey yarn next week. I've got some yarn that I could definitely give away, and I've got plenty of fiber that I can give away too, whether a sample pack or more of something. Whoever wins can decide. Comment below. I love your questions. I love answering the questions. So please feel free to just ask questions about spinning, wool, mill, farm, whatever, because I do love answering them, and I'm trying to get better at answering at the next episode. Anyway, comment. I don't know, you all. Comment whatever you want to comment. It's getting warm and my brain's starting to melt a little bit. So comment whatever. Next time I will definitely show you some update on some of the knitted projects I'm working on and the spinning project I'm working on, what that is going to become. And let me know what you're working on. That's something fun. Enter the giveaway by next Tuesday, end of day, wherever you are, and comment below. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching or for listening, whatever it is you're doing. Be kind to your neighbors, stay healthy, and make so many pretty things. Until I see you again, feel free to share in the comments or go to Patreon. We actually have a Zoom on Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're not in my Patreon community, I would love to see you in there. I'm really active in there, and hope to see you all soon. So take care, and thank you so much for watching.